Okay, I'm starting the mains using a modified Yasuki method, which I picked up from watching Men's and Crosses video on YouTube. Customers wants Hyper G at 50 pounds. Okay, I'm not doing any pre-stretch. It'll be 50 pounds, full bed. So start out by pulling both strings at once at 50 pounds. And I'll put my normal machine clamp here. Clamp it off. I'll lock this my starting clamp back here on the opposite side. Release it. Okay, so this section is loose. That's no problem. We're gonna go back to full detention. So now we're gonna pull. Remember, this was only at half of the 50 pounds. The string on the left hand side. So now we're gonna pull full tension for it with that anchor clamp on the other side. And go ahead and release the starting clamp and re-clamp it on 50 pounds. Go ahead and release. So now this string is at full reference tension. Okay, and then we'll go back to pull the string on the opposite side. So we'll get full reference tension on this one. We'll do 3 strings on this side before returning to switching to the other side. Make sure you don't crimp the this string with the starting clamp too much, or it might end up damaging the polyester. I usually don't insert the string more than halfway into the clamp, because if you insert it all the way into the clamp, you'll compress the polyester too much. You'll actually flatten it out. Just gonna pre-string this one, and we'll go back to the opposite side. Okay, so remember, this string was already at reference tension. We'll use the clamp on this side for the first time. Once that's on there, we can now release our starting clamp. One thing I don't like about this method is that right when I released the starting clamp, I heard a little bit of creep. This, because of the 50-pound tension, the string actually moved out of the clamp really quickly as soon as I release it. So you want to make sure that you release it. You open up the clamp quickly too, so it won't rub against the abrasive coating inside it. So I don't always try to clamp off the string under tension as soon as possible, because I know that on this tensioner, sometimes it could take up to 5 to 10 seconds before the actual tension gets up to the reference tension. I don't know about the more expensive machines, but at least on this one, that's what I observed while I was trying to calibrate it using a digital weight scale. For example, I'm pulling 50 pounds, and what I can see on the weight scale is that within the first 5 seconds, it might be struggling to get up to 50 pounds. And then after a few seconds, it'll finally get to 50. It might overshoot to 50.5, and then it'll fluctuate below 50 to over 50 until eventually, between 5 to 10 seconds, depending on what tension, it stabilizes at around 50. So what I try to do to take out the inconsistency is by calibrating it higher to make sure that it stabilizes at over 50, so that my overall string tension in the end would actually overshoot a little bit instead of being under. Because the last thing you want to do is when customer asks the reference tension to be a 50 and you actually pull it at 49 point something in the end. So we got 4 strings tension on that side. I'll do the 4th one on this side as well. Could have gone one more on that side, because you see how I had to flip the handle this way because the opposite one is in the way. So now we're at 4 and 4. I want to ping the string pairs to make sure that they sound the same, that they have the same pitch. Okay, I'm liking the first pair. They definitely match up. Sorry. Alright, second, see the second pair? Good. Third pair. Good. The 4th pair are being clamped off, and because this one was the newest string being tension, it has a higher pitch until it slowly relaxes itself in a couple of minutes. Okay. So let me go back to this side to finish. I'm gonna go all the way to the 8th string, and then I'm gonna add a few pounds of tie-out tension on it. So this is 5, 6. I'm gonna go to the 7th string actually. Skip a hole up top. The hole being skipped is the first hole for the crosses, so I'm skipping that. Then for the 8th string, I'm skipping another cross hole. You'll see that if you miss the skip, your main strings won't be parallel to each other. So for both top and bottom, we're skipping a hole. So I pre-weaved the 8th string, and then we're gonna do both sides together in the end to get the few pounds more of tension added for the tie off knot. Okay, I'm gonna double check on my pitch again. Very good. Okay, my tie off tension, I've added, I don't know where I got it set at, let me check. Okay, my tie off knot has a plus 15 pound on it. Plus 15% setting on it. So instead of 50, it's actually, it shot up to 57, and now it's back down to about 55. That's only 10%. I don't know why it's only doing 10%. I'll check on the other side. Not sure why that is. It shot up to 57.5. That's the 57. The added 7.5 pounds. That's actually 15%. But then it actually dropped another 5% to 55. Maybe that's just how the way the tensioner is programmed to operate like that. I suppose I can set the tie off knot tension to positive 20 pounds and see how it behaves. These holes are on the smaller side, so I'm just gonna do the Wilson Pro knot instead of the bulkier Arnell knot. Perfect. So maybe I'll start all my rackets like that. I like the consistency of the reference tension. It matches on both sides of the racket. Okay, we're doing 50 pounds for the crosses. The only thing we have to adjust is the clamp tightness. I usually increase the adjustment knob, clockwise by a little bit from my experience. That'll grip the strings tighter, because not only are you gripping through one layer of string when the cross goes in order, the crosses will actually sit on top of the mains, therefore you'll actually have to come up higher fully in able to grab the crosses, and therefore it needs to be adjusted tighter. Without the adjustment, if you don't make the clamp come up fully, it can slip easily. I always start from the third cross hole to reduce the overall wear on the cross strings against the main strings. I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, yeah. As you can see, for the first 3 strings, only this much length has to go through, rubbing the main strings, without this remaining cross section having to rub against it. Therefore, you're saving that remaining section from 3 times of rubbing, pretty much. Came out above. I wanted to come out under. This is when I utilize the help of the awl and create a pathway under the string. Keeps wanting to come out above it. Here's the trusted bypass out. He forced me to break this thing out. Once it's through, you just bring this whole thing out. See, that works perfect. Came out nicely. That owl I originally got from a basic $200 Gamma's drop-away stringer, and I kept it ever since, even after I sold that stringer to somebody. Okay, for this first cross string, all it's needed is enough length for it to reach the tension head. Use the starting clamp to fix it in place. We're gonna start by pulling tension from the second string, because this tension on the first string will come back to pull at a later time when we go to tie out the first string. Okay, once I've kinked this string, it's kind of hard for me to weave it, so I'm gonna cut out the kink, so I have a fresh tag end. I need to increase my weaving speed. Okay, with that opposite clamp in place, we can actually come back to the opposite, to this side, to pull the first cross string tension. We'll do that at a 10% more. Tie off, not tension, because we're going to tie it off right now. Here's the tie off hole. Make sure the string is laying against the main string that's already on the head guard without crossing it over anything. above. Okay, I took the slack out. I didn't grab it. Okay, I weaved it in the wrong direction. Yep. That's not good. So instead of the easy pre-weave, now I'm doing the hard weave. Because if your previous string has already been tensioned, then the weaving is just that much harder. Like this one, I'm pre-weaving, and it's much easier. From time to time you want to check to make sure that you didn't misweave anything before it's too late, because if you find out the mistake at the end, then you'll have to remove all the cross strings, or just to get to a point where you can fix it. This will be the last string I'm pre-weaving. The rest of it I won't be pre-weaving because I simply don't have enough length. The string doesn't have enough length on it. As you can see, with this little bit hanging out here, I could barely reach the string puller. I said I wasn't gonna pre-weave. Just making sure I have enough string left over. When you're doing this sewing motion, you want to make sure you don't create too much rotational twist in the string, otherwise it won't look good. Now in this final hole, I gotta come out below the main string that's on there, like this. Because that's the right angle. Got the tie off knot tension put on. I'm not seeing a tie-off hole. Shared hole. But I don't really want to enlarge the hole though. Because the main strings might pull through. So now, let me try this string.